The average American eats close to 280 eggs a year. That's about 50 eggs more per year than they ate 30 years ago.
Every single morning, I have 2 eggs, sunny side up, with 1 piece of toast. If I don't have that, it throws off my whole day.
I always eat scrambled eggs, and it's just so good. Salt and pepper. Mwah.
Historically, eggs have been one of the cheapest sources of protein, but lately, this trend has been reversing.
I paid like $8 to $10 for a dozen eggs, which was ridiculous.
Recently, we bought a dozen of eggs at $10.
I was gobsmacked. I was not aware that prices were as high as they were.
Prices like these have been plaguing grocery store shelves in New York City and beyond. In fact, eggs ended 2022 with the price point nearly 60% higher than the previous year. As egg prices soared sky high, some even started to be smuggled in from Mexico. Not only are eggs the latest victim to high inflation, but the industry is also battling a deadly avian flu that threatens to wipe out entire flocks of birds.
When you figure it out and you've got it, it's too late. Within a week, the whole flock is infested.
For business owners in the food industry, it presents another challenge.
These are expensive. These eggs should be treated like babies right now.
Can we ever expect to pay a reasonable price for a carton of eggs again? Cedar Ridge Egg Farm is one of more than 160,000 farms across the country that produces and sells poultry and eggs.
I'm Sam Miller, co-owner of Cedar Ridge Egg Farm. I've been in the chicken business for about 23 years, but we've been selling eggs to the public for about 2.5 years. I have 2 chicken houses. Each house consists of roughly around 12,000 chickens, total roughly 25,000. We're running about 1,900 dozen eggs a day. We're full circle here. We gather the eggs, we process the eggs, we pack the eggs, we load the eggs on a truck, and they go straight to the retailer customers.
In 2019 alone, the U.S. produced 113 billion eggs.
The amount of eggs we are able to produce as a country and feed the American people with a quality, relatively low-priced protein at the scale in which they do it is just truly amazing.
Beyond breakfast and baked goods, eggs are in everything from pharmaceuticals, like some flu vaccines, to skincare and pet food. However, the egg industry was upended in 2022 by supply chain disruptions and inflation.
And dating back to the start of the Ukraine-Russian war, we've seen very high input costs in terms of producing eggs related to grains, corn, and soy, right? Corn and soy are the key ingredients in producing an egg because that is the feed stuff that the egg layers eat.
My feed went up $7,000 a month, and that's when I only had 1 house in operation. Now I've got 2, so you can figure $14,000 increase a month. I'm going through 50,000 pounds of feed here a week.
Farms are also facing labor shortages, along with higher prices for everything from wages and fuel to material and transportation costs. But it's actually a viral disease that's making things much worse for egg producers. This strain of avian influenza, or AI, is known as type A H5N1. One of the ways it spreads is by wild birds. Whether they are flying above a farm, or the virus is carried onto the farm via shoes or car tires. The outbreak that began in February 2022 killed 43 million egg-laying hens last year, and by December of that year, egg inventories were 29% lower than they were the year before.
There's a tremendous amount of costs associated with disinfecting and truck washes and trying to deter wild birds.
The highest prices recorded since the beginning of the outbreak averaged at $4.65 a dozen for wholesale eggs, and retail averaged at $4.80 a dozen. Prices have been even higher in places like New York City.
I used to charge anywhere from $3.25 to $3.50 a dozen. Now I'm charging $4 a dozen. I've kept my costs down very low. I mean, I'm just making 10-15%. I'm a farmer. I know what I charge. I know what it takes me to make that egg. And I'm not making very much money. I'm making enough to stay in business, and I'm hoping that that's going to keep me in business in the future.
For a deli based in New York, avian flu and high inflation costs for producers has caused the price of its eggs to spike.
My name is Julia Yum. I work underneath my parents, Sonny and Annie's. We've been open for almost 30 years. We're a 24-hour deli and grocery shop.
The deli is known for its creative sandwiches, many of which include eggs.
These are $150 for this size, 120 eggs. My father used to pay 40 bucks for these. If I find a cracked egg in there, I go crazy. I call them and I try to get credit for at least 1 or 2 eggs. I know it sounds a little crazy, but that's what I do. You can't lose anymore. The rent is increasing. Electricity is increasing. So, it's just been hard to keep everything fair, easy, and affordable.
To help balance out the impact of inflation, the deli has increased prices on many items throughout the store, including on a regular carton of eggs. They've also added a 50-cent surcharge to card purchases. But one price they've kept the same are their sandwiches.
We don't want to lose our breakfast customers. So with the egg breakfast prices, anything with eggs, it still remains the same, even though the prices on eggs have increased. We know it's going to go down soon one day, so we're just kind of bracing ourselves for that moment, but feeling the pain. Us, we're quick, fast, easy, to-go deli business, so we have to just keep it affordable, keep it fair, and keep them coming.
Still, there may be hope for falling egg prices for consumers soon. By mid-February 2023, wholesale egg prices fell more than 50% from their high in December. Consumer prices remain high, but may soon reflect wholesale rates.
We'll have some volatility in terms of price and the strain on the supply chain. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out over the next few months and, really all of this year.
It should have never got as high as it got, in my eyes. But who am I? I'm just a little old farmer here in Picton, Texas.
Eggs is just like water. It should be affordable, and it's the first thing you think of when you wake up. I need breakfast. I need to do something, eat something just to get my day started.